love the sound of jet turbines in the morning. Oh! Hi there! Ooh, you scared me. Hey there, neighbor. My name is Josh Wee, and welcome to VTOL VR. This game is, well, basically exactly what it's advertised. It's a VR game, and you get to fly planes. As the name suggests, VTOL VR, there is vertical takeoff and landing equipped aircraft in the game. 2 out of the 3 planes that are currently in the game are vertical takeoff and landing equipped, but that's not really the important part to me. I could care less if it was a biplane from World War I. The fact of the matter is, this is a game where you get to be Tom Cruise. You get to be a fighter pilot in VR, and it's awesome. Now, it's not a flight simulator in the strictest definition of terms. It is not a one-for-one recreation of a real-world aircraft that you get to fly. But it is a fully functioning aircraft that works in VR. And by full functioning, I mean you can interact with everything around you in the cockpit. Everything from the joystick that you use to fly the aircraft to handholds that are up here on the sides. I mean, it is awesome. And that's all I can really say about it. It's awesome. It takes the concept of being a flight sim to the next level by maybe not being as accurate as something like, I don't know, DCS, but adding in that fluid factor that a lot of VR games don't have is what I think makes this game special. Because, I mean, they've designed this game from the ground up to be a VR flight game. So everything that you have works with your VR controllers. There's no little switches that you have to go digging for and trying to fiddle with. That I've had the problem with DCS even using a mouse and I can't click the switches. And I couldn't imagine how frustrating that would be if you're trying to do that with VR controllers. But they nailed it. It's awesome. And yeah, that's all I can really say. Want to experience flying in VR, not having to worry about finding your keyboard mid-flight to try and do something, or forgetting where that one control is on your joystick and having to like lift off your VR headset and like look around for the numbers on your buttons if you're not a 100,000-hour plus god with a joystick and throttle, then this is the game for you. Well, that being said, I guess let's get down to why you're all here. The plane that we're flying today. This is the F-45A, as it is known in VTOL VR. In real life, it would be most comparable to the F-35B Lightning. So it is a VTOL, vertical takeoff and landing, capable aircraft that flies primarily with the United States Air Force and is a fighter built to take on other aircraft and also perform ground attack missions, stealth capability, and yeah, it's pretty kick-ass. Here in the game, well, it looks like that. As you can see, sitting next to me on the flight deck of this large supercarrier that is most definitely modeled after the Gerald R. Ford class of United States nuclear-powered aircraft carriers. That right there is what we're flying today. And as you can see, it's a pretty mean-looking machine. You'll notice his wings are a little bit more empty than mine are, because I like things that go boom. If you've been a part of this channel long enough, you know that I like things that go boom. So, what can I say? Par for the course. But yeah, pretty good-looking aircraft if I do say so myself. If we look back over our wing here, we can actually see that there is another supercarrier parked next to ours. We have a big old carrier task force out here with some support ships that are escorting us. And as you can see, we got the flight deck pretty much all to ourselves other than our wingman here, which is pretty cool. But yes, that's what we're flying today. And it's gonna be a blast. Let me give you a tour of our cockpit real quick here and go over some of the features as to why I think this game really stands out. So, first off would be, I mean, look at this. It's awesome. Despite it not being a one-to-one recreation of a real-world cockpit, I definitely feel like I'm sitting in a fighter jet. And that's really cool. Starting from right to left, the first thing you're probably going to notice is this bad boy right here. This is your stick. If you look over my shoulder there, oh, I put my head in the way, you can see the control surfaces moving. You can actually look back over your wing here and see there's my elevators on the wings out there that are currently folded up. And those are extra flaps on my wings there to help with turning. Not on my wing. They're mounted on the forward part of the fuselage here to help with maneuvering. And yeah, that's, I mean, in all honesty, you could be sitting here and not really ever need to. I mean, you should, because it's awesome, but you don't really need to look back over your shoulder. But the fact is that they model all the flight surfaces moving anyways, because they're awesome. If you actually go up here and take a peek, when I move this is to turn my rudders. You can see my rudder pedals moving. Now, I'm not actually pushing those with my feet, but it's still simulated in the game. You can actually see, there you go. There's my rudders moving back there. How cool is that? Now, moving on swiftly, over here is the controls to adjust the flight stick. And this is one of the things that I think makes this game work so well. Because they've realized that not everybody is the same exact size. And yes, you can reset your chair, right? So you're sitting in the proper spot. And they have you do, you can, when you're in the menu screens, you can do that whenever you want by tapping a button on your hand here. But then, right before you jump into the mission, they make sure you double check that you're in the proper spot so you get the best experience. And that helps add to the overall awesome experience of this game. And the other thing is, not everybody's the same size. So even if I'm sitting in this chair in the proper spot, if I'm a small person, I'm not going to be able to see over this dash. I'm not going to be able to see where I'm going. And so they fixed that by adding this button in right here, which adjusts the seat height. How cool is that? And then, let's say, okay, now I can see over the dash properly, and my throttle's at the right height, but now my joystick's all the way down here, and I can't reach it. Well, that's no problem. You can just use this to move your joystick up and down. Or this to move it left and right. Or forward and backwards. Or, if that's too much work for you, you can just push this auto button right here. If you actually push it, grab the joystick, move it to wherever's comfortable for you, set it there. I'm going to put mine right there. Click that auto button again. Locks it in place. Now you're good to send it. Again, little details that make this game so much more enjoyable to play, and I think that that's awesome. Anyways, enough gushing over that, because I could talk about it for a long time, because that's how important good game design is to me. But moving past that, here we have our communications panel, and as you can see, I have a little green light here that says my microphone's activated. So, if I was to go, tower requesting takeoff clearance.
Foxtrot 1-1, you're clear to taxi to Cat 4.
How freaking cool is that? Here is our canopy switch, so if I trigger that, voila. Also, it got louder because now I'm exposed to open jet engines. That one and the one strapped behind me. Makes sense, right? Attention to detail, so good. Put that canopy back in place. And also, look at how cool that looks when that comes down. Ugh, so good. Next here is our auxiliary power unit, which you have to turn on before starting the main engine, because that will help you power up your systems, even if your engine isn't supplying power yet. Real aircraft have those. That's what that's for. Main battery switch, here's our engine on-off switch, and then here, you can see, we have, on this aircraft, 4 display panels, which I can set with anything. So I was just in here. This is what I'm using to talk to you in this camera. Hello. How cool is that? Back here, I've got a navigational chart, which looks pretty similar. And like I said before, look at how these buttons are all spread out. And the controllers vibrate when you get over a button option. And it's super easy to just, toggle that. Oh, that's altitude. I'm doing the wrong thing. There. Now you can see, this is the island we're next to. That's so cool. Momentarily here, I think we might be crashing into another ship. But that's fine. Don't worry about it. Anyways, so yeah, there's your GPS. Next here is our targeting pod. Let's turn on our heads-up display. There you go. And don't mind the destroyers sailing through the deck. It's fine. This is our targeting pod. So, there, I can slave that to my headset. And now I can see, well, one, I can see through the bottom of my aircraft, which is pretty sweet, and you might think, oh, that's not realistic. I don't like that at all. But if you think about it, right, this is a feed of the camera that's mounted underneath my nose, and I can use that to look down because that's what the camera sees. Now, I'm not seeing through the floor. I'm just seeing a heads-up display of what the camera's seeing, which is super cool and actually something that they have in real life. But this is super helpful for when you're landing in vertical takeoff and landing mode, because you can look through your floor more or less and see how close you are to the ground. Now, you'll note that this is looking really close to the deck because it's mounted underneath the nose of the aircraft, but I mean, it still gives you a pretty good picture of what we're looking at. I'm going to turn that off though by clicking that button. And now we are back onto this, and I can now control this targeting pod with my joystick on my right controller, and the joystick will now gimbal this targeting pod on the nose of the aircraft. And that is just so cool to me. And then I can slave that back to forward. There's our targeting pod. Let's say you want to open up your radar systems. Let's power on the radar system. Boom, radar. Let's increase our range a little bit. By the way, I'd like to just say for everybody before you say, oh my god, there's a destroyer clipping through the deck. This is a community-made map. This is not made by the game. I don't think in the actual game you're going to see ships clipping into other ships just while you're there in the mission. This mission's just built for the ships to sail from one side of the island to the other, and I've been sitting here talking so long that they're through their whole course, and now they don't know what to do. So that's what that is right there. Anyways, back to this. Radar, boom. I got other stuff on here. Here's my comms. If I didn't have this super sick comms panel, I could actually talk here to whatever I needed to talk to, right? So, that's cool. Objective that... my only objective is to fly. Fly like the wind, Bullseye. Okay, so, you know, you get the gist. Multifunction displays. They're super cool. They're touchscreen. And the other fighter jet in this game is like a mix between the F-18 and like the F-15, and it has the actual buttons. So not all of the planes aren't all the same. The cockpits differ depending on the aircraft, which I think is super awesome. And that one has buttons where you actually have to select all this stuff. It doesn't have all these fancy touchscreen displays, which is accurate and pretty cool. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah. So here, this is our helmet controls. But the helmet controls are also integrated into the headset. So if I reach up to my side here, there's my visor, which is pretty sweet. And then if I reach over on the front side here, now I've got night vision. Now this really hurts because it's daytime, but night vision, so you can do night ops in this game, which, again, super cool. Alright, moving over to the left side here. This is your autopilot for when you're in hover mode in VTOL, which is super helpful if you're in the third aircraft of this game, which is like a mix between an Osprey and, say, a Quinjet from like the Avengers. So cool. It's an awesome mix. I'll throw pictures up on the screen of the other two aircraft in the game and the real life counterparts that I'm talking about, for anyone who doesn't know while I'm talking about these. But anyways, yes, it's like a mix between an Osprey and like the Quinjet. It's so cool. But that's the second out of the three aircraft in this game, and that's the one that has the second one that has VTOL capabilities, and that one also has like a chain gun and stuff. It's like a bomber / A-10, but in VTOL form. It's super cool. Anyways, where was I? Yes, that is your autopilot, so you can just hover there, and then you can take over your targeting pod and just kind of chill there, hovering, and just shoot at ground targets. So that's kind of cool. If you're a real boss, though, you shoot at ground targets on the move, like a real fighter pilot. Anyways, below that, I'm not going to say too much because it's going to be really embarrassing when I crash and die. Below that is the landing gear lever, so obviously when we get up in the air, we'll raise the landing gear to reduce our drag. Next to that is our jettison button for our armaments. So you would do that in the case where, don't mind my hands that are spinning around right now, I just had to scratch my nose. You would do that in the case of, say you had to land back on the carrier. I don't know what U.S. Navy... I believe you can land with ordnance, but say you had to make an emergency landing, say a belly landing or something like that, or maybe any emergency landing on a carrier or at an airfield, you could jettison your weapons so that you pose less of a risk to yourself and others when you come on an aircraft. I believe that's how that works. Don't quote me on that. Below that is our parking brake. Obviously that is on right now, otherwise we would be slowly rolling across the deck because the engine is at 0 throttle, but it's still a jet engine, so it's producing some thrust. Here is something that is unique to carrier-based aircraft, and that is the wing up, wing down button. So if we click that right now, you'll see our wingtips unfold. And now we are no longer in the stowed position. We are ready for takeoff. Awesome. This is to, I believe, dump fuel. I believe that's what that button does. Again, don't quote me on that. Another thing that's unique to carrier aircraft is these two buttons right here, the hook and launch bar. So our hook, this is going to be our tail hook. So when we're coming into land, like a standard traditional aircraft, we will use these wires right here and the hook on the back of the plane. We will catch those wires, and the wires slow us down before we shoot off the end of the carrier. And that is how they recover aircraft on modern aircraft carriers. Now, the reason that modern carriers look kind of funny with that angled piece off the side is we actually have an angled landing, angled runway. And that allows planes who miss those wires to put on full power again and go around and try another landing. Because we realized after World War II, when we were building all of our carriers straight on what was called the flat top carriers, we realized that if a plane screwed up his landing, there was a bunch of stuff parked in front of him that explodes violently when it's hit with another aircraft at speed. So they decided, hey, maybe we should move that over slightly so that if they do miss, they got a free runway in front of them. They can just apply power and pull back and go around. Now, I'm overly simplifying the process of taking off and landing on a carrier. I can't even imagine what it's like to actually have to perform that task. I can't even do it in this game, like, at all. But that's how the process works, at least. The second switch down here is our launch bar, and we will actually use that when we go to take off on the catapults over there on the front of the ship. It's a little bar that goes down, sits in a trough, and then on the Gerald R. Ford class of U.S. aircraft carriers, that is an electromagnetic rail system which will take our aircraft and throw it off the front of the ship to gain enough speed quick enough to get off of the deck. Catapult gang, rise up. Ramp gang is lame. Comment down below if you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, that's all I'll say about that. We'll look at that a little bit later. This is obviously our throttle. You can see us really lean forward and start pushing against those brakes. Our brakes aren't strong enough to hold us there at full power. But that is our throttle. It also has things that happen if you hold this and then push buttons. If we look over our shoulder here, actually, I wonder if we'll be able to see. It's coming out the back of our plane, so I can't really see it. But when I push that, you can hear my automated voice assistant in the cockpit here saying chaff flare, and that means that I have just deployed anti-weapon countermeasure homing, which basically is a flare which causes heat, and chaff, which is little metal shards that spit out into the air like confetti. And those are to defeat the two main types of modern anti-air weapons, which are heat-seeking missiles and radar missiles. The idea is the flares fool the heat-seeking heads, so they chase the flares instead of us, and the chaff fools the radar, to make it think that there's an object there that's not really there, because those metal strands reflect the radar signature back to the warhead, and so it thinks that that's the plane and not us, which is really cool, and we will have to use those when we start getting shot at. Over here on the left, we're almost done. This is our light panel. So this is our landing lights, strobe lights, navigation lights, and our formation lights. This over here just is more comfort of life stuff, which adjusts our instrument brightness, which is pretty neat, and also nighttime lighting for the cockpit. So all of our stuff lights up pretty in green. I'm actually going to leave it on because I think it looks really cool. And the last thing we have over here is this, which is an MP3 player built into the cockpit of the plane. Comes stock in every single one. Now, I will say, currently this game on that MP3 player only has 3 tracks that come with the game. They're really fun though. I mean, they get you in the mood. The best part about it is you can upload your own music. Anyways, the more astute among you may notice that is my old stream intro. If you want to check me out on Twitch, it is JoshBreed1912 on Twitch. I stream when I feel like it. Don't hold me to it. But it's fun. So just go on there, follow me on Twitch, turn on your notifications. So on those occasions that I do stream, you'll get notified and you can come hop in and hang out with us. And that would be super cool. Anyways, that's enough shilling. Let's move on to the game again. But yes, that's a really cool feature, built-in MP3 player. I need to get a bunch of songs and upload them into that. It's really simple. You just take an MP3 file and drop it into a folder in the game program, or in the game program files, and then it's right there in your MP3 player. Super sweet. And yeah, I think you can even remove the default tracks if you don't want them in there, which is awesome. So anyways, without further ado, I think we should go flying. As our game objective says here, menu. I'm not going to screw that up again. You'll see that in the blooper, but yeah, you'll see. Objective, fly. So let's go do that, shall we? Alright, so we are going to start by talking to ATC. Tower, this is Foxtrot 1 requesting takeoff clearance.
Foxtrot 1-1, you're clear to taxi to Cat 4.
Roger, Dodger. Alright, let's give ourselves a little bit of power. Remove our parking brake. Whoa, a little too much power, if I do say so myself. If you just, on your controller, if you're using an Oculus controller, I'm not sure if it's different for other ones. For Oculus controllers, your trigger is actually your brake. So on the ground, that'll deploy your parking brake, and in the air, that will deploy your air brakes, which is super cool. Alright, so now we're going to use our launch bar, and we're going to pull up to
Foxtrot 1-1, locked in. Throttle down and run our launch
throttle
checklist.
down, run the launch checklist. Copy that. We're going to check our flight surfaces again.
Foxtrot 1-1.
Make sure we're all good to go. We're going to check over our shoulder. We're going to verify ramp is up. We are good to launch. And, well, yeehaw, partner. I'm going to grab that. We're going to throttle up. Send it. We're going to just pull back on the stick there. And we are airborne. Yeehaw! Landing gear up. I'm going to drop back out of Afterburner because that's unnecessary and wasteful of taxpayer dollars. And, yeah, we're flying. There we go. Look at that. Boats. How cool is that? Alright, let's go take a peek-see at the city over here. Also, I love that sun glare. That is such a good touch. Dang, man. Look at those carriers down there. That is so cool. Alright, so I'm going to actually turn on our master arm switch. Our weapons are now hot and good to go. I'm then going to switch over to turn on our tactical display and go to which menu is it again? Storage management system. There we go. So now we can see what all we have in our aircraft here. As you can see, we have a GAU-22 cannon with 800 rounds in the nose. We have a couple of AIM-9 Sidewinders, a couple of AIM-120s. Those are radar-guided missiles. Oh, look, there's an actual airstrip down there. That's pretty cool. And some Mark 83s. I believe those are 1,000-pound unguided bombs, just because why not? But yeah. So there's lots of stuff we got weapons-wise, but man, just look at this game. Look at how cool that is. Now, you of course don't get the sensation unless you're actually in VR, but oh man, so cool. So cool. We're gonna do a little flyby of the airport here. And this is actually the base airport where you learn how to do all your stuff. I'm not actually sure if it's on this map, but... Oh, I hear you, Sally. I hear you. That's pretty cool. No, actually, it's not on this map. What I'm talking about, this is a custom map. This was made by somebody in the community. Another awesome thing about this game is the fact that it has a Steam Workshop. So if you want to go look on there and find something cool, cool mission, you can totally go do that. If you want to be really cool and go design a mission, you can totes do that. And that is sweet. And I mean, just how cool is that? Whoop. Got a little blood rush to our heads there. I see the red mist descending. Give a little flyby of the city here. Now, it's not going to win any beauty contests as a game. It's, you know, it's not like it's got ultra realistic 100% graphics, like, oh yeah, I can totally tell that, you know, this is like eating my GPU. No, this is not that kind of game. It's not going to win any beauty contests. But I don't care, honestly. Just the fact that they put so much time and effort into this game to make it a smooth playing experience, I can forgive the fact that it's not the most incredible graphics I've ever seen. Also, it's VR. It doesn't really matter. I mean, VR is about that sense of depth, not necessarily the most perfect graphics you will ever see. Not the point. But it's a flying game. It passes muster. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I also think they. Actually, I'll add one more thing. I think they might have done it for smoothness sake, so that your game actually runs good. Which in VR is super important because you don't want to get motion sickness. If your game's stuttering and stuff all the time, you're going to get motion sickness, and then you're not going to enjoy the game. So the fact that they did this to make the game more enjoyable, I'm perfectly okay with. There we go. Let's take a look at these mountains. Let's pop some afterburners here. Oh yeah, so they're pushing my top button on my joystick. I was actually able to cycle through my weapons, and then I believe my trigger should be... Yup. How cool is that? We have like basically an A10 cannon on the front of this bad boy. Oh god.
Pull up.
And it's so intuitive as well. It's like you know what's going on when you're flying. There's never an issue with not understanding. It's just so intuitive. Awesome. Bro, that is so cool. Ooh, let's not crash into the mountain. That would be super embarrassing. Oh, but it's just so fun. Now, if you do get motion sickness, you might have a problem with this game, but you probably have a problem with every VR game if you actually have bad motion sickness. Unfortunately, there's not much you can do about that, as far as I know. Yeah, I'm getting a little sun glare here. I'm gonna pop that visor down. Oh yeah, operational sunglasses, baby. How many rounds left do we have in this cannon? 589. Oh, we got plenty. We got plenty of rounds, dude. Just, I'm gonna watch over my shoulder here. As I fire this cannon. It's gonna come out of that hatch right there. How cool is that? Here we go. How cool is that? How absolutely cool is that? Oh gosh, I'm blacking out. Got a little too overzealous on that turn there. Whoa, too many positive G's. Woo! The red mist is back. All right. So another cool thing. So this is your screen of interest feature, which basically will allow you to control whatever screen of interest you have chosen with the hat on the controller. So right now, I'm able to gimbal the camera right there with my joystick, which is super cool. And also on my HUD, I can see where my gimbal is looking. If I want to manually, I can actually look out of my cockpit. If I see something on the ground, you know, I can just set my camera right on it and it'll follow it. We'll set the camera back to forward here. Big pull around. And then we'll select this as our screen of interest. And now I can control this, which will, when our radar picks up enemy targets, I can then go over to the enemy target and I can select them, and then it will let me lock on a missile. There's no enemies actually in this game right now that I'm playing, but that's how it would work if there was enemies. And yeah, man, it's just, it's such a cool game. All right, I think we're gonna wrap up this flight now by going and having ourselves a VTOL landing, and I think that'll about cover it. Now we're requesting vertical landing.
Foxtrot 1-1, tower, copy. Side heading 071.
How cool is that, dude?
Foxtrot 1-1, tower, clear to land on pad 01.
Down. Give us a little bit of power, and let's tilt ourselves into a vertical position. And let's go in for a nice smooth landing. Alright, now I'm just gonna warn y'all, I'm pretty bad at this, so this could be rough, but should be amusing regardless. You know, this is where that the thing I was talking about with the display, heads-up display. Yeah, that would be nice right about now. Well, how do you like them apples? We actually managed to land, and on the middle of the runway, no less. Very impressive. Very impressive. Hey guys, hope you liked this video. This was just a overview of VTOL VR, what you're gonna see when you get into the game, what it's kind of like, just basically getting up into the air. Next time, I'm going to do an actual mission, so you get to see what that looks like. So let me know down below in the comments if you want to see that, because I would absolutely love to make that. But this video took me a while to make, just filming, and I'm sure when I go to edit it, it's going to take a long time. So, you know, but hey, it's fun. So let me know if you would like to see a mission, and we will totally put that together. But other than that, until next time, folks, this is Josh Lee logging off from the cockpit. I'll see y'all in the next episode.